lots and lots of lessons to learn from there. Now, I wish I knew this before we founded one of my investment companies where I was the founder. It was called Workout for You. It was a wonderful app meant for only lazy people, and they get other fit people to work out for them and turn up at the gym. Of course, it didn't go too well. It was very hurtful when my investor said, "You're not result oriented." So that end there. But the good news is we've got a lot more talking to do about raising money. But what about now moving money? Because the way money flows is basically in a way that is done through your business, and it can unlock growth and build customer loyalty. To tell us a little bit more about this, we have a very high growth panel. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to invite on stage Nitin Sethi, Joint President, Chief Digital Officer, Consumer Businesses, Adani Group; Nipun Sharma, Head of Marketing, Salesforce; Ravi Garg, Head WhatsApp for Business India; Ramakrishnan Gopalan, Head Products India and South Asia, Visa. And moderating this wonderful conversation will be Senior Vice President of Marketing at Razorpay, Apurva Sethi. Guys, make some noise, round of applause, wake up. People at the back, you're not clapping for anyone, we'll send footage of you not clapping.
Sir.
He'll watch it. All right, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Apur. Guys, can you hear me all right? Good afternoon everyone. I hope by now you're full with ideas and food and not sleepy at all. So this is a very interesting panel. 20 years ago when I started out to seek the profession of marketing, marketing was the only buzzword, and only time you'll hear growth would be when you hear Complan, right? So that's the world that we used to be, but the world has completely changed. We don't have CMOs anymore. We have Chief Growth Officers. And somewhere in some places, the CFO is smiling, right? Because he was the one who knew it all along, that marketers were not driving growth. Yeah?
You're spending money.
So the world has changed, and here we are. It is growth everywhere. All of us as marketers, all of us as business owners are really considerate about how is it that we can use every penny of money that we spend across the value chain of our customer journey and kind of drive it, right? And what better panel for this conversation to have today, right? Because, typically in growth panels, you have 5 marketers talking about very linear conversations, each trying to give a very different definition of the same term. But today we have a very, very diverse group. We have Mr. Ravi from Meta, and the place where conversations are converting into business. We have Mr. Nitin from Adani One. He's giving wings to premium flyers. We have Nipun from Salesforce, pretty much the guys who created CRM and now digital transformation. And we have Mr. Ramakrishnan, likes to be called Ramki, from Visa. You guys were the godfathers of loyalty, right? Before even loyalty was a thing. Yeah? So let's start with Ravi. Ravi, I would like to start the panel by putting the marketers in this group on the back foot. From your vantage point as WhatsApp for Business, you see a whole bunch of us using your platform to drive growth. What are things you think marketers are wasting money on?
Again, that's an interesting question to start. I'm tempted to say anything which is not being spent on WhatsApp is wasted. But on a serious note, Apurva, I think the question is how can they improve the ROI or the impact from the money that's being spent, because that's where the opportunity is. I think what we are seeing as a trend which is emerging is this is an era of personalization. This is not about selling one thing, making one thing which everybody wants. Everybody is looking at what is different for me. Even while it was very common for clothes, but now people are really looking at shades of phones or devices which are very dumb devices. That's an era of personalization. And when we engage with different clients and brands and businesses, I think that's the differentiator that I have seen. Anybody who's really talking of the customer first and really talking to me like me as Ravi and him as Ramki is probably winning versus somebody who's trying to sell everything to everybody there. Maybe I can give one or two examples that we have seen on WhatsApp. Everybody here knows what marketers look for is reach, engagement, and impact. So how do you reach the number of people? How do you engage with them? And what is the impact that you leave so that you get the ROI. With WhatsApp, obviously, we deliver. We have the largest reach in the country. Nobody can beat us. Engagement, I'm sure many people right now are checking their WhatsApp in the audience. That's the level of engagement. And we have invested on impact where how people can use WhatsApp to make it very personal, even though it's a mass platform, how you can really personalize on WhatsApp. And I can give, while I can't name brands because there are confidentiality clauses, but I'll give you one or two examples that we have seen. So one of the very large two-wheeler companies, and this is recent, this is last year festive campaign, they landed a very personalized campaign on WhatsApp. So while you see their brands on TV and they run a campaign, but with WhatsApp, they chose to personalize it. It was not even a personal text message. It was a personal video message.
Right.
So every single person would get a video in his name with, hey, you are missing this, would you like this? And within 30 days, they got 16 lakh bike bookings done.
Wow.
Now imagine the impact that WhatsApp could drive. So that's where it is. I can quote many examples, but I think with technology, with digital, personalization is the way forward, is my sense.
Very interesting. And Nitin, I think Nitin will also agree that Adani One Airports and Adani network of airports is pretty much like WhatsApp of the offline world. He has a captive audience, very high on engagement.
Yeah.
So Nitin, what is it that you see works for you when you look at this whole network of flyers? And what have you learned? Because you are pretty much owning the most premium segment out of India, right? And I think as a group, we can learn a lot about how do you drive loyalty? How do you think of growth on that platform?
So first of all, of course, thanks for having me. Two cities on the stage is not an easy thing to handle. It's a very interesting question which you've asked because just like WhatsApp, most of our acquisition happens through the captive customer base. We don't spend money to acquire customers. Customers walk into our airports. We are the largest airport operator in India. We operate 7 odd airports. 85 million travelers fly from our airports almost on a yearly basis. Now, what it means that we need to do a very, very balanced and hyper-personalized phygital job.
Are you using WhatsApp for personalization?
We are using WhatsApp for personalization. I don't think there is any brand in this room who's not their client, right? And of course, look at the smile. They get the money out of all of our pocket with a smile. That's a great endeavor. But if you look at the airport as it's a monopolistic ecosystem, you don't actually have a choice. You have one city, you will fly from that city, and that's the airport. So the focus is always on the customer delight. The focus is always on giving you that experience through the AI because as an airport operator, you have large quantum of segmented data.
Very interesting.
And every single time when you come in, if for a service we end up giving you loyalty points, which creates more hooks, and you end up spending on 3 services rather than 2, that is what every operator would like to see or every brand would like to see. We are seeing close to 35% upside in terms of offline versus online sales through Adani One. And one example is the duty free. Let's say duty free, our average ATV is close to 7,500 on physical. On digital is 9,500 plus for the, and you get the best discounts ever. So when you're traveling to Mumbai next time, do use Adani One pre-book and guess the best. So the idea is that through loyalty, you can give a value to a customer and still create bottom line and top line with profits. You don't need to actually go and, focus only on the revenues.
We have a very interesting question lined up on the bottom line of loyalty, but I have a very interesting question to ask, right? Like, what you just described feel like a marketer's paradise to get into. When are you opening it up for me to advertise on CPMs?
So actually CPMs are dead. Now with contextual advertising or pitching, if I give you a personalized experience while sitting in a lounge and I say, okay, now there is a hand holding with a customer can buy a duty-free item, rather than pitching you F&B, a customer who's sitting in the lounge will not go and buy an F&B. Yeah. He's already tummy full, right? So you pamper him through the convenience. So there are only two elements in the digital ecosystem. Razorpay created the brand on trust, and WhatsApp created brand on trust and convenience through the communication layer. These are the only two elements, and these are the two elements even Adani won and does.
Interesting. Now, so I've seen how WhatsApp has a monopolistic, very large network, and you have one offline. Now, coming to you, Nipun, Salesforce again is sitting on treasure trove of data across all of your brands, and you learn a lot, I'm sure, when you look at it from a meta point of view, right? And how is data traveling, how are marketers performing, how is it that they are running campaigns at a overall scale? What is it that you would want this group to take away about digital transformation, loyalty, and how is it that you see us leveraging data? Please don't say AI. Everything else is good.
No, we all hear that loyalty is the new sales. Most of the companies have realized it that it is 7 times easier to sell into an existing customer rather than acquiring a new customer. So everybody is focusing on loyalty. Now there are some companies who are still transactional in nature, like if you go to a grocery shop and there your loyalty is more like a wallet, it's like a saving account where the more you purchase, the more gets into your account and then you redeem it, right? But nowadays, most of the other companies who are little matured in nature, what they are doing is that they are looking at loyalty like a stock market, where there are too many signals coming. It's very dynamic. They're looking at macro signals. They're looking at how customers are behaving, what is their purchase pattern, or how are they interacting with marketing campaigns. And all of that is feeding into a system, which is what defines a matured loyalty system. Just an example, if there is a B2B company, and since we are, that's the theme of this topic. If there's a B2B company and they find that there is a customer where the purchasing frequency is reducing, but they are highly engaged with that company. So a traditional CRM would not flag anything out there, but the new age CRM, and we always call ourselves new age, it will flag that there is something off. Right? There's something off. Why is this customer buying less while he's engaging more? And then it can identify the AI. I would like to say, because AI is central and core to our technology. It will find out that there is certain macro issues with that industry. Maybe there is budget freeze. So in which case the loyalty offer that needs to be given to this customer is not a promotion, but it is more on like flexible pricing or flexible purchasing plans.
Yeah.
Right? So this is how I think mature systems really work, and that's what we as Salesforce strive to provide to our customers.
Yeah, Nipun, I would come to my questions later. You said something very interesting. Like I know Salesforce is talking about agentic world. Yeah, how will loyalty work when AI bots are talking to AI bots? And what am I building loyalty for? I'm building loyalty for AI bot.
Right. No, so we are a company that has completely pivoted to agentic. We call ourselves now a digital labor platform, which means that we are encouraging agents, which are AI agents, to work alongside humans to deliver better customer experience. To answer your question, the customer, the receiving side will always be human. The business provider, right, the service provider will be the one which will be agents. And currently we have good agents who can front end a digital concierge for a loyalty system. So if anybody wants to redeem their loyalty, if they loyalty program, loyalty points, if somebody has any questions on loyalty, they can talk to an agent, and that agent will understand the customer preferences. First of all, it will have all the knowledge about that customer. What has he purchased? What marketing channel has that customer interacted with? All the buying pattern, all the signals, and then accordingly respond to that a customer, and it's very human-like.
Very interesting. So, and I have a convergence with Ramki on this, and I'll go off the book again. But Ramki, see, the way I see it, right? Visa was the one who told us what coupons are. Like if I think of the earliest times when we would have reward points, you would have it on credit cards. And therefore, you guys are sitting on probably 3 decades of user behavior on how they interact with coupons, how they interact with points. If I were to ask you to distill it, because that's the holy grail of incentivizing loyalty, if I may use that word, of how is it that you can maximize the investments that you're making in your reward ecosystem. If you were to distill it, I'm sure it will be hard, but what is it that we can take away as a group of how best to structure it for the Indian consumer?
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow. I'm trying to make it as different as what they have said so far, so which is why I'm trying to probably synthesize this. In our view, I think loyalty is evolving, right? The way we look at loyalty. I'll probably lay out 3 or 4 dimensions as to where loyalty is changing. I think first and foremost, within the financial services world, which is largely the audience that you're probably trying to cater to, there has been a shift from a single product focus to a relationship focused. Countless number of banks in India or outside India are now starting to look at how do they give maximum value to the consumer across their different life stages. They may have, to your point, they may have started a relationship with a card, which is a very transactional product. You keep getting rewards, but as they evolve in life, maybe they need a mortgage, maybe they need a wealth account, they need something, an insurance later. Yeah. But how they can weave loyalty across the various products. I think the organizations that have done well have been able to do the holy grail, which is cross-sell better. There are a couple of examples that I can think of. I think Barclays does it very well. You have a good loyalty program across the bank. The bank in South Africa called Discover Bank. Their loyalty to their consumers is actually tied to their customers' well-being. It's like how Vitality, a lot of people have heard insurance program Vitality. Yeah. Vitality's core reason for providing something is to do well-being of the consumer. So if the consumer does their steps, which is walking every day, doing exercises, then you get something and hence your insurance premium becomes better. That's the kind of their theme. But they've been able to link it to not just to one product, but multiple products. So from single product to relationship focused. I think that's one big transition that we are seeing. The second thing that I can tell you is probably from being core transactional, becoming a lot more experiential. Whether what Ravi said about hyper-personalization, or whether it's gaming, or whether it is, when consumers there in the airport, what can you do better for them, which is what Nitin was talking about. One good example that I can think of is, we have a partnership with Adani on our co-brand, where for consumers who use the co-brand.
This was not planted, guys.
Oh, this wasn't planted. I didn't know Nitin was there today till the time I saw him. So we do give consumers the business class lounge experience, even though they may not be traveling business class or they may not be paying for a higher economy fare. So it's becoming a lot more experiential. Definitely, it's becoming a lot more individualized. If you can't run campaigns, if you can't run offers which are suited to me than to him or her, I think we are missing the woods for the trees in terms of loyalty. And finally, it's probably becoming much more integrated than being standalone. What do I mean by that? Gone are those days when you can use your points or things that you can do only in your ecosystem. Today, great loyalty companies, give you multiple options to redeem. In fact, I was talking to a airline loyalty person. The first thing that they said as what you should track the number of people who redeem. And the more you redeem, the more you become loyal. So the first thing that airline companies always encourage doing is they encourage people to redeem. Because gone are those days when you start thinking of loyalty as cost. Loyalty is not a cost center. Loyalty is
a time when you would use the breakage to justify a business case for a loyalty program.
You shouldn't look at that. If you look at that, you're probably not doing the right thing. And hence from there, it's becoming a lot more integrated. So from standalone, give more options for the consumers to do with whatever they're getting from you. If you can bring in a coalition partnership. A good example is Tesco in UK. Tesco's is like our, any retail shop in India. If you get Tesco points, you can not only redeem in Tesco, but you can redeem it across multiple restaurants, except for their competitors. They've probably opened their points redemption to everybody and anybody in UK. So it's becoming more integrated into the larger ecosystem. It's becoming a lot more individualized, and it's becoming a lot more experiential. These are the large mega trends that probably I see in loyalty that's playing out. And you guys have a lot of good role to play to make sure that players like us can actually enable that for our partners.
So Apur, before you
Yeah.
ask, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question.
Oh, very nice.
This is, a lot of people will wake up for this. So you tell me, on option 1, you're getting a 500 rupees discount.
Yeah.
And option 2, you are getting a 600 rupees rewards, which you may redeem next time, whenever you travel. But this 500 is right now. What are you going to opt for?
Recency. 500.
Yeah. So in our research, the instant gratification overrules 90% of the consumer mind space,
Very, very nice. Yeah, very interesting insight.
even with a 20% margin.
Hmm.
The hook, what all of them said on the value creation, you give, and for a lot of new age startup, you give customer something right now, pamper him, and leave a carrot for the next transaction, you will win.
So that gets me to my next question, right? Like, see, in a world where data can pretty much predict what Apoor wants, like right now you asked me a question, I'm sure you don't even have to ask a question because I'm a Adani One member. So you know pretty much where I travel, what I do, where I buy, and you sir would have my credit card, so you'll know where I'm swiping it. You pretty much have a lot of my history, a lot of my data to know what I need when. What does that do to the economics of loyalty, right? Because it's a paradox. If all of my marketing spend can be consumed, do you see it as a paradox at all? Or how do you do economics of loyalty programs and retention in that case?
I'm so glad you asked it, because this is every CFO's or every CBO's biggest problem. If you have this threshold of, let's say, 5%, 7%, 12%, 15% basis category to category. Now, if you don't play with dynamic pricing, you will be a dead fish in the very crowded market. You can never outbid your competition, because somebody always have some big guy will always have a bigger check to play the last man standing game. So that game doesn't worth it. How much money you will burn? The idea is to go for dynamic pricing, see and balance it out with the footfalls and the capacity. When you have more footfalls, discount can be less. When you have more space or the service availability, you can discount it more. Let me give you an example. At airports, 2 to 6 p.m. is a lean time. And then night for domestic is lean time. So can you do lounge with dynamic pricing, F&B with dynamic pricing? A lot of bakeries, even this hotel, bakery, you can buy pastry at a 25-50% discount after certain hours. That model works. There are value seekers. So I'm not saying you will plan your travel, but you may choose the service in that transit. You may choose a lounge over F&B or choose F&B over lounge.
Is it easier to say than do? Like, I'm saying, what is it that, like, all of us know that, right? But if I look at young brands trying to become brands, your first access is on the Google search page. When you see a product ad, you're trying to do discounting you're trying to gratify for instantaneous purchase because you don't want to maximize your CAC.
That's mouth of the funnel.
Yeah. So how is it, like, if you can articulate it for us, right? How is it that you think of a framework to implement and succeed with what you just talked about?
So don't try to get a lot of paid traffic on mouth of a funnel. Try to be organic, try to get it through customer testimonials, through the value of the service, and use the money which you want to spend on the customer delight. You will always win. And I'm telling you, whether it was Indigo, whether it was the previous 10 digital startups I've worked for, every time this framework has resulted amazing. At Indigo, $1 of investment, we have given $10 of ROI.
Wow.
And WhatsApp was one of the partners. Right? Visa knows that what type of our co-brand ROIs. We have the maximum spend, despite we are only travel-based So if you're traveling from our airports, nobody can give you better discounts than our co-brand.
Very interesting. I see you guys going back to the same theme, and it's almost a cartel on the panel right now. So there's, in the old world there used to be Star Alliance, and there used to be large airline alliance, right? It's pretty much that. One theme that I'm taking away, which is new to me, is that loyalty needs to be thought of as an ecosystem of partners. And as you build those ecosystem of partners, you are more likely to succeed because you have better ROI to deliver. I think it's a great takeaway, right? And with that, Nipun, from your context, if I were to look at the whole agentic piece that you talked about, if I look at all of the CRM potential of the Salesforce ecosystem in general, how is it that you see that would evolve in a let's say a collaborative loyalty ecosystem? Like, do you see Salesforce in a sense, like I can imagine a world where 4 partners are essentially sharing some kind of a syndicated data pool to be able to deliver more value to maximize for each other, right? Do you see that world evolve? Do you see some of it coming together on your platforms?
Yeah, I'll take a lead from what Nitin just said, which is very interesting, that if you invest in customer delight, it always pays off. But how do you delight a customer if you don't know the customer? So very classic example is, not classic, very recent example is, I was coming in the cab today and my driver was really speeding. And I told him that I don't want to reach fast, but he is still speeding. So for him, maybe he doesn't understand that as a customer, what I actually need is a smooth ride. I don't need to reach fast, I need a smooth ride. And unless you know the customer and what the customer wants, you cannot actually delight the customer, right? And so one is just knowing the preferences, and of course these signals come from various different systems, right? So marketing system, sales system, service system. Another example was, I was flying my favorite airline. I was going to the US, and one of the lights was not working. Something on the dash which was not working. It was not working in the sense it was not going off. And I was not, and I had to sleep. It was a 15-hour flight. So I told the technician, can you please switch this off? And he could not switch it off. Then, so I basically put my, whatever that, lines, and I slept off. It was not anything major, but I left them a bad rating, right? And I'm sure that rating is not percolating into the system where they feel that, okay, this person flies a lot and he's had a bad experience and we need to do something about it. I think that thing is lost. Now, next time when I will be picking airlines, I will have a second thought. While that's my favorite airline, I might go with somebody else, right? So customer delight becomes very important, and in which case this integration of systems, which is marketing system, your sales system and service system, is so critical, right? Because signals are coming from everywhere. And what Salesforce does, I'm not trying to sell Salesforce here, but we have a data layer, right? We create a very unified customer profile, which makes sure that all these signals are being captured against a customer. So we know that this person had a bad experience, this person does 10 flights, this person likes this food, this person does not like lounge, this person likes chauffeur-driven, to be driven by a chauffeur. And all that goes into, basically, this is all AI. I mean, because there are trillions of data points, records, which our systems kind of processes, right? So all that is only possible when you have AI as a core technology behind everything. And yeah, so that's how the whole...
Very, very interesting. You know, this reminds me of something that I learned from my ex-manager. He said that, you know, everything about loyalty is essentially is an old memory from a shopping, when you go shopping with your parents. The chai that you are served, and the guy knowing that you need a masala chai with the right amount of sugar is the best loyalty program that you'll ever get to. I think we have only about 7 minutes left for the panel, and if there's time, I think we can take a few questions. Nipun? Can we have a few questions? We have 6 minutes. Yeah? Yeah?
He's saying you can ask more.
We can continue? Yeah, audience questions? Yeah. Any questions, folks?
This is after lunch session.
I can see a few hands.
Hi, I'm Chaitra. So it's good to know we are concentrating more on loyalty. But what I think is the users are not aware of multiple loyalty programs. We are not making use of it to the 100%. Where some of you said the redemption rate is too low. So maybe we have to work towards it more.
Yep.
Is your question is directed to?
Do you want all of us to answer? You want?
I can go.
Anyone
Yeah,
of
go ahead.
I'll go for it. Yeah, I think right. I think the first and foremost, as people who are creating loyalty programs, I think it's very important that you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. If you don't design a intuitive redemption journey, I mean, that's it. That's one clear recipe for disaster. So as organizations who have been in that space, we really work with clients to make sure that slick redemption journey is built. One of the things that, and again, this is not a plug, is that we work with people like Razorpay or the payment aggregators to make sure that journey with the consumer goes through is not broken at any cost. And if there is any broken experience, you need to do salvaging of that experience ASAP. Let me give you a very quick example. This is a couple of years back. It's probably table stakes now, but this happened. This was late in the night. I was booking my in-laws were traveling to the US, and there were like 3 people who were going, all senior citizens. So you had to do wheelchair selection, and these were like 3 legs, because the cheapest fare was hop into Dubai, then into Athens, then into New York. I distinctly remember that example that night. Between 11:30 to 12:30, I was doing this booking, and right at the time when I was just before the payments page, boom, I got timed out. After like 27 minutes of investing in that, and then the whole thing got timed out. And the next time, if you ask me to start again, I would be shocked, to start the whole thing again. That's the time when somebody actually called me, on my phone saying, hey, I noticed that you're doing it and you've kind of dropped off the experience. Can I help you at this moment? And that was like super good call, right? This was with an OTA. I don't want to name them, but I become loyal to them after that. And all they did was they sent me a link. I literally started from where I had dropped off at that particular point of time. And it took me another 40, 50 seconds to complete it. So at that time, to your question, it's not just redemption journey. It's about how do you manage the moments of experience with consumers. It's when loyalty gets entrenched. It's not about campaigns. It's not also about redemption. If you manage those moments of interaction well, clearly you have defined a successful loyalty program.
Yeah. There was one more hand. Yeah.
Hello panel, I'm Jayalakshmi. Hi Apurv.
Hello, Jalal.
Yes, so I have a question consolidating all that we spoke about, and I've put it in ChatGPT so that it frames better.
Wow.
Again, yes. So how can business balance the cost of implementation of agentic AI with the need of client retention, ensuring that we maintain the loyalty of the customers, also ensuring profits?
Ravi, you go ahead.
Jalashmi, did you ask it to also answer it?
Ravi.
No, I told it to frame it because I'm all ears to listen to the answer.
Ravi will answer.
Yeah, no, I'm not a loyalty expert, but since you use ChatGPT, I can actually say that's already happening through AI, and Nipun and Nitin and others spoke of AI. This is what is happening today when I shared about personalization and data and things like a lot of people spoke of data. That is what AI is doing today, that a lot of AI data is getting consolidated, and today technology can help you actually give an optimal experience to your user at the cost that you would like to do it. And that's what we are seeing actually happening there. Honestly, while you spoke of cost, the costs of technology are reducing dramatically. So it's not very expensive when you say that, how can you balance as a business to give an experience that a user expects at the cost in a profitable way that you want to do it. And what you see is today is very, very early stage of the technology. Like we spoke of AI, Nipun spoke of AI that Salesforce does, but AI is going to get commoditized very soon. It's not going to be a privileged opportunity for a few large businesses. You will see AI agents for every small and large business, every individual users. And the purpose of AI is to reduce costs. So I think if you're on that journey, you're already using ChatGPT, I think you will start seeing that experience that you're looking for.
Sir, I have an extended question to it. So, so when we, the response is more from the B2C side of things, but when we say B2B, there are competitors involved who are constantly looking for, reduction in cost, while on the contrary part, there are businesses who are offering, catering to those services. For example, if I take Salesforce and implementation of AI will increase the cost, or resources in developing those AIs and to get the best results will come with some cost. But there are competitors of Salesforce, and the customer can always choose competitor over one because of the cost. How do we balance the retention versus the profit?
Nipun, that's a
Really,
sales pitch.
Salesforce.
I just took Salesforce as an example.
No, I'm happy to answer. See, there is no such one implementation cost. It's not a straightforward answer. First, since you spoke about agentic capabilities, the underlying basis of anything to do with agenting is data. Now, if your organization data is already very structured, is already in a very good shape, then implementation cost becomes less, right? But if, and also it depends upon how many systems your organization is using, how many systems you want to feed into the AI. These are all these factors which determine what kind of implementation and how much time the implementation will take, right? So the more complex the scenario, the more, of course, the more difficult it is, right? On the other hand, there are technologies pretty advanced now, so there are very good connectors of different applications. Like MuleSoft is one of the products which helps you connect different systems. So there are technology available to smoothen things out, but if humans have cluttered the whole process, then it takes time. Like, so there's no shortcut to this.
I'll add 2 cents here. So see, technology is only enabler. So if you use the power of data, don't try to overcook it. And speed is the king. Still, experimentation is the best king. And solve for the customer pain points. That is the best outcome one can do. AI will not going to give you a ready-made solution out of it. You any which way needs to connect the dots for sure. Basis business understanding and the customer experience. But solve for customer experience and pain point, that will ultimately end up in a good outcome, for sure.
Very nice. Thank you so much. We are out of time, and thank you, gentlemen. It was a lovely conversation. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.